Hey, how's it going, everybody? Election is still going on, and here I am in a new tie for all of you, just to switch it up just a bit. Excuse me. Now, remember what I mentioned about staying in the camera. If you notice, I am swiggling a little bit. I really like you to try to step away from your camera for the next videos here and really get the entire body language in here. As you can see, the movement is coming from my lack of range from my feet. And clearly, even though I'm speaking and I might sound fine vocally, when you start to fidget this way and you go back and forth, obviously this is going to affect the message of it. So I'm actually standing on a balance board right now, and I'm just trying to not have to focus on my posture, because the only way to stay on this board is if I just stand erectly, right? And I just want to focus on the message. So this is just a way for you to train yourselves. A lot of you are standing up, which is great, but stand up and try to be able to see at least your waist and your hips and maybe your footwork, because that's a big portion of what it's like to be an athlete, and speaking does take a physical toll. So I just wanted you to aim to do that for your next ones, but definitely at least stand for the videos. Okay, so the demonstration speech is what we just concluded, and that's where Unit 2 is, where we're taking off. And just remember, demonstration speech, it's important that you can prove under pressure in front of people that you can actually do what it is that you do. And now I just wanted to reiterate for yourself that when you chose a demonstration speech topic, something might start off as a hobby, but if you get better at it, then you can actually get paid to do it. So for example, if you play the piano as a hobby, you get really good at doing it, you can become a piano teacher. And why is it so important that you learn how to do the demonstration speech? Because the demonstration is about being precise and being able to teach what you know to somebody else. And that's really the essence of what the demonstration speech is trying to tell us. The transfer of information to be able to successfully do that from one person to another. So think about all the hobbies that you have now that you would love to be able to get paid to do. And how do you do it? Well, you have to get better at it, which means you have to be more precise. And rather than saying, play your piano like this or like that, you're able to describe exactly the range of motion that you're doing, the intensity and the pressure that you press each button, and which fingers to move. And if you can do that, I guarantee you, from doing successful demonstration speeches, you will be a paid teacher in the hobby that you currently have right now. Okay. Now, as we go into Unit 2, each exercise here, we have a thought exercise. I wanted to think about something, and then we have a new speaking exercise for you. There's different worksheets I want you to think about, such as the money financial worksheet that we did. There's always a paper, and then there's a training exercise following with the speech outline. So in terms of the demonstration speech, you've already done, and I already did the how to tie a tie speech. So a lot of it's going to make more sense to you right now, but I want to make sure that we have the time to discuss the other important elements of this speech here. And again, this is your final video for this week, where you practice 13 minutes as well. Again, if you can practice more, all the power to you. But I just want to make sure that although the goal is to practice 13 minutes a day, I'm making these videos, and I just want to make sure that at least with each video, you can pump out 13 to 26 minutes of training. Okay. All right. So here is about unlocking your potential. And, my former student of mine, if you Google his name, he's actually a mixed martial arts champion right now. And his demonstration speech started his career. He wanted to learn how to do Muay Thai kickboxing. He used the time that we had before the speech started, from the first day we talked about the idea of it, and he actually took it upon himself to train. And now he's a Muay Thai fighter who fights in Madison Square Garden. And they're just one of the beautiful items about, you can do something for a speech, for a grade, or you can take that time and use that speech to develop something that you actually want to do for the rest of your life. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so the first question I would like you to answer is, what have you discovered to be your greatest strength as a speaker? Okay, now for purposes of all these, you know that I do the exercises. I trained it already with all of you. And just remember, use the attention grabber, use the unforgettable ending, add in your literary devices, try to add in some more body language and motion, and just really enjoy these questions, okay? People are going to be asking you, what's your greatest strength when you go to an interview? So you got to know about that. What topics are you most passionate about? Right? People would be asking you, so what do you do on your free time? What do you like to read? What shows do you like to watch? Right? What news do you like to follow? So I want you to answer that question in 30 seconds as well. How do you find your speaking now in comparison to speaking on day one? That is the third question in this box that I'd like you to answer. And if you do all three, congratulations, you already have a minute and a half done speaking already for your training. Okay, people are going to ask you similar questions to that. Compared to when you were a freshman, now that you're graduating from college, what personal growth have you seen in yourself? If you look back in the last 10 years in your career here at this company, how would you say that you've changed for the better? What makes you a better employee today that makes you able to be a manager compared to when you first started? What life lessons have you learned over the course of your life? Similar versions and renditions of the same question, but really equally important for you to know how to answer. So here we go here with the first picture of who do you want to be? And that's going to be the second paper that all of you are going to write. Again, just 200 words, 100 word finality of there. And I want you to think about this speech class as a bridge for who you are now and who you want to be. And this speech class is trying to give you some form of eloquence and a greater sense of maturity, because the better you can communicate, the better perceived you are as someone who is being credible. So on the left side here, you have being observed, evaluated, judged, pay, controlled, and disempowered. Let me give you an example of the observed part. Okay, so you're taking the SAT exam. Guess what? You're being observed, right? So you're paying to take the SAT. The person who's watching you is the observer, and they're getting paid to watch you, right? So obviously, as you get older, you want to go toward the green section, where suddenly now you're not being evaluated for how you're doing in school. You're the evaluator, so that you can tell other people what they can do better, and then thus you're the one getting paid. Okay. And it's a big difference between being paid, that you have to pay, and getting paid. So an example I can give you would be the following. Imagine you're at a summer camp right now where you're trying to learn baseball. Well, as a camper, you pay to be at the camp to learn skills. But what if you are good enough that you can actually be a coach at this camp? Then suddenly you're getting paid to be there. And what skill do you really need to do that? The demonstration speech. Because even though you might have been really good in playing baseball in your high school team, now it's really important that you know how to teach it to somebody, which comes into the demonstration speech, right? So all of this is just really trying to take you from perhaps an employee to an employer, so that you can be the one in power, because speech is power, and you have to have power within yourself so that you can empower yourself. Okay, so the other question I have for you after that is, what role does speech play in becoming who you want to be? I mean, obviously the side of the bridge you want to be on is the more powerful one, right? The green one, the green tie is the power tie now. What will you do to get there? What questions do you have about this diagram? This is a bit of a longer question, so take a minute to answer this one. All right, it's always your choice. You want to do 30 seconds, you want to do 1 minute, it's fine. But all I ask you is that you time yourself so you're more specific about the surgical way that you're speaking, and you're not going too much or too little, without you consciously knowing, hey, you got 30 seconds here. Here's a Super Bowl commercial. It's 30 seconds. Use it all. Hey, you got 1 minute. Use it all. Okay. So this diagram underneath is, who do you want to be? In this diagram, I would like you to, in the red circles, write down the elements of yourself that you like to develop. For example, you might say that you want to be on your college dance team. Fine. What are the obstacles in your way? Perhaps you have to do an introduction speech and talk to the coach about it. That's communication. Perhaps you have to do a persuasive speech, because you're going to have to be able to first give an informative speech about the dance team, and then persuade your parents about it as to why it's worth the investment of time for you to go about doing it. Then, of course, you would have to do a demonstration speech talking to the coach about how you're capable of doing this, and how you might be able to be a leader on the team by talking about how to do these techniques to underclassmen next year and the year after, so that you can show potential in leadership, because who wouldn't want someone to be in the team for all 4 years? Okay, so ways to overcome these obstacles, it all relates back to some form of communication. And that's what I want you to be able to focus on. Who do you want to be? What are your obstacles? So a real simple one might be, you're in school right now because you want to be a said profession. Well, what are your obstacles potentially that you can turn into opportunities through your speaking? Yes, you have the job interview. Yes, you have the networking. But what about during classes? Building better relationships and rapport with your professors, with your classmates. All those opportunities are there for you. You just have to be able to not see them as obstacles and turn them into ways that it will work for you. So think about who you want to be, place them in the circle, what obstacles may be in your way, and then you put them in the squares, and then write your thoughts below. Okay. Again, at the end of the day, this workbook is for you. You can look back on it almost like a yearbook that you look back on once you graduate high school, except this one is actually going to have all your notes in it. Okay. And that's the beauty of it, because you can see 20 years from now that this is what you thought about. This was what was important to you. And this is one of the steps that you took to be able to get there. I still have journal entries from when I was in college, and I wrote down all the stuff that I wanted to do. And sometimes I'm just like, man, that is crazy. Why was I ever even interested in that? But the beautiful part is when I write about the public speaking stuff, it's cool that after all this time, I can see the grassroots of how that actually start happening. Okay. Okay, so congratulations. You read the part about being precise, and it's not about perfection. Again, your job in life, your goal in life is not to be given one wonderful introduction speech about one person in one set time. Your job in life, ideally, because you're going to always meet other people, is to be able to give the best introduction speech to anybody so that they're going to love you for it. And for you to be able to give the best introduction about yourself to different types of environments. You would not introduce yourself the same way to your parents. You know your parents already, but you would not introduce yourself the same way to one particular group of friends as you may your particular group of coworkers, for instance. So here we go for the speaking exercises for you to do here. And this will conclude, okay, your speaking for this week. And then we're going to get into the next level workbook and the next videos. But these videos here, today is, what do you say? Today is Wednesday. Okay. So I know I'm just trying to keep things on Tuesday, Friday, as I promised there. So I'm just going to say that this stuff is going to be due next Friday. Okay. So I'm going to give you 9 days to do this. So the first video that I did already, you got your 13 minutes. This video here, you're going to get 13 minutes. And then I'll make another video after we finish A to Z, and that will be your third one. So you have 3 opportunities to pick up another point each by next Friday. And then I'm going to be sending you the video about the anaphora speech, so that we'll be working on that as well. So I'm going to break this into 2 little videos here, just so it's more precise that this is 13, this is 13, and this is 13. Okay. All right. So those additional questions that I asked you to answer before, answer it for yourself. We'll just keep it simple with this speaking activity here. And essentially, it's fill in the blank, pause for 3 seconds when you see ... and then speak again. This is to help you work on your dramatic pauses now. Count from 1 Mississippi all the way to 5 if you have to. Just hold that pause. Embrace the attention that's on you. Just like when you're working out, you got to hold those weights, right, to get stronger. You don't want to just throw them up and down. And then make sure that your message is of paramount significance. All right, I'm going to step off this balance board now because I've had enough of that. And I'm actually going to bring in this other board now, or I'm going to stand on instead. Okay, so again, I'm really big on making sure you have good posture as a speaker. So I want you to get used to being on your feet. It's going to come back again once all this is over. And I just want you to be prepared to be able to present yourself as awesome as possible. So here we go. Whenever it snows, I want to make a snow angel. It's a wonderful feeling when you have a blanket of softness that you can just jump from 8 feet in the air and poof, land on. Suddenly you just relax yourself like you're on a mattress. And once it's all said and done, you can see the beautiful work that you created without making any energy at all and just simply enjoying yourself. So that's an example of how I paused for 3 seconds with the dots, and then the blanks you get to fill in yourself. So I'll try another one. Now that it's September 20 and 20, I'm just amazed that the last 3 months has gone by already, and suddenly it's November. We were so anxious about the semester starting online and everything. But I just realized that for many of you, this is your first semester in college, and it's the first one online ever. So all of you still don't know what it's like to be in college in person. And already now next semester, it looks like we may also just be online. So it's kind of just crazy how technology online is like the new way of teaching suddenly. Okay. Now, I could go on and do all these, but you understand how to do them now, which is great. And you understand that I do them with you to keep getting better and better. So what I like you to improve on here is rather than just start with when I see a cop car drive by me, ... I like you to add in one of those attention grabbers, then say the phrase and fill it in yourself by having an unforgettable ending afterwards. So I'll give you an example. I'll start with the question, I'll say the phrase, incorporate the dramatic pause, then I'll have an unforgettable ending. Timing of it, 30 seconds for all of these. So I'll give you an example. What do you do when you see the sirens blasting behind you? Well, when I see a car drive by me, I get so paranoid that suddenly I freeze up and I absolutely try not to move and do everything like a robot so that I don't get pulled over. And when it is me, because it always happens sometimes, I just make sure that I did nothing wrong because I do not want to have a ticket. What do you do if you see a blasting siren behind you? This one, I started with a question and then I ended with a question. For this one, I'm going to start with one word and then I'll end with a question. So here we go. Me. When I see a bicyclist wants to get in my lane, I think about me. Because over the last year, I've been riding my bike a whole lot. So now I know what it feels like to have a bicyclist have to compete with the car for some highway or some street space. In the past, I always try to oh, driver, just get yourself a car. But now that I'm on the other side of it or the other vehicle, I understand a lot more now and I try to be much more empathetic with bicyclists. Do you ride your bike more than you drive? Notice that I tried to change the tempo. I changed my vocal inflection a bit. And I had the attention grabber and unforgettable ending. Getting more advanced now, ideally, because in your speeches, right, you have that boom, attention grabber, you have the unforgettable ending, and you have the rhyme, the alliteration, the pause. You want to try to add all those elements in this 30-second span. And of course, it's not natural. But if you can make it natural, then you can sprinkle it in on any time you want. And it's just going to be a lot easier for you because you have a much greater grasp and control of the English language. And on the dot, you can just put things on the spot. And your speech will never rot because it's just going to get more and more golden for you. All right. So with this one, I'm going to try to incorporate all the elements when I see blank, 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 a raccoon. Okay. So here we go. Whoa. When I see a raccoon, I think red and rabies, triple alliteration. I don't want to have any blood anywhere, and I don't want to get infected by any type of disease. So I can tell you that I'm like a pear. I'm really scared, and I don't think it's fair that my neighborhood happens to have so many raccoons. But you know what? I can't control that. So what I did actually was I bought a lot of these raccoon trapper parts that I wrap on top of my garbage can so that they can't get into it to eat my leftover Buffalo Wild Wings. Raccoons are scary. There you go. I had the rhyme. I had pear. I was like a pear, like I'm just like completely stuck. It's not fair, but don't despair. You just got to be aware of what's over there. Rabies, red, and raccoon. The dramatic pauses from this exercise is built in for you. So you don't have to worry about where should I pause when I'm giving the speech. But I wanted to be more cognizant of now the pace and the tempo of what you're of how you're speaking, because it does make a big difference. Every word you say, the audience should try to be hanging off of it. What is this speaker going to say next? That's the dramatic pause, right? That's when you have the power as a speaker. You want to have the power to yourself, because anything else will take away the attention of the audience away from you. That bleep noise from the Android or that iPhone, that notification from somewhere else, there's so much that you're competing against now for somebody's attention that you just got to be able to have that power to take it all back when you're the speaker. So those are the examples that I wanted to give you for this exercise here. You have your dramatic pause at the very least, but I'd like you to at least add in the attention grabber and the unforgettable ending, and just try to have fun by being a little bit loose here. I like how you do this more in rapid fire impromptu speaking, because I get to see a lot more animation from your faces. It just comes naturally. You're not stiff and thinking about it so much, right? And you're just having a lot more fun with it. Speech, my philosophy is always this: if you have to do something all the time, then you might as well do it really well, and you might as well have fun doing it. And guess what? Public speaking and speech is exactly just that. We have to do it every day. So why not be really good at it? And why not have fun doing it? Simple. Now, if I had to wrestle a snake every single day, and I have a huge fear of snakes, right? It's around my neck. If I had to wrestle a snake every single day, I would make sure that I got really good at it because I do not want the snake to bite me. I do not want it to hurt me or just go somewhere that I don't know, so it could pop out and scare the heck out of me. And likewise, I don't know if I'll have fun doing it, but I certainly know that I don't want to have a fear of it, you know? So I just really wanted to think about that for speech. Our semester, again, is going to its final stretches soon, right? It's a month of November. It's getting colder. The days are getting shorter. But again, your speech has got to get stronger. There you go. So answer these questions. And that is your 13 minutes of training. And, impress yourself, impress me, impress others. Do even more. Why not? The tick and play clock time management sheet. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Aside from our finances, it's important that we know also how to manage our time. And that's why this worksheet is here for you to help you out. Now, you have different parts of your life that just kind of bleed in together, right? You have your schoolwork, you have your work, you have your family, you have your relationships, you have your me time, you have your idle time, so on and so forth. But I'd like you to just start keeping track of how much time you actually spend on the different parts of your day. I'm going to stop this video now because that's the end of the second training. And this last one will be the final 13 minutes that you'll be talking about.